the training. Stories that you might want to get acquainted with, get to know, get the business knowledge, especially in the world of business. But of course, before we kick it off with our show today, I would like to hear from my colleagues here of what really made, the highlight. What was the highlight business-wise last week? As for me, I would briefly maybe talk about the UAE and the Uganda relations, how they have been able, through our eyes, they are transitioning, and you can see that there is progress. So, Hanifa, what's new in your head in regards to business?
In regards to business, last week and of course this week, still making headlines. The fact that the Uganda Airlines
is going to start flights to Lagos and UK. Is it so?
Has extended its routes to Nigeria. At first they started with Mumbai, India. That's a bit far, and it's very interesting. And India and Uganda are, when it comes to business, we have so many Indians here doing business. So if they have opened routes to Mumbai direct, just know how many Indians are going to come with their business ideas to Uganda. But I hope the Muntu also benefits from this initiative.
So these are going to be direct flights, right? Yes. From Uganda up to Lagos and India, right?
My story before we even get to it.
Okay.
I'm glad that Hanifa, that's really.
Yeah, of course. Even now, it still makes news. Even this week still does make news, and it is really a good thing. So if now they're in Lagos, that means they can travel as far as Europe and America. We are waiting for that.
Yeah, thank you so much. Peterson, speak to us, and of course,
you see, no. Yes, I've been
of what you have with business today.
If I tell you what I've been doing over the weekend, I've been following up what has been happening in the Parliament of Uganda. I really don't know what should be the matter of how do you call them when you're in Parliament?
Matter of national importance.
The national importance. I don't feel like a whole MP coming to the floor of Parliament and start quarreling because of the outside fights and the fights that do not make sense in any way. You can't say Zake did this, then you come and make all the problems that women have been passing through. You know what has been happening here? Women have been speared in their private parts. Women are dying in hospitals. And you are basing on Zake's statements, and you bring Parliament, you start jumping the Parliament. I did not see it making sense.
It does. It does actually. She has Parliament to air out her.
That would have settled outside.
Zake went to her constituency and said things that I cannot say.
It's a minor issue. It was a minor issue.
Let's not turn this into a political show before we even start.
It was a minor issue. Okay, but for me, that's the story that I've been following up. I was wondering, by the way, so our women, you can do better than this. Don't just bring petty issues in Parliament.
Even the men can do better. You don't just say things about someone. And the level of
anyway, maybe to just give you a preamble of me, what made the highlight for me last week. I've been seeing a lot of UAE meetings with the president, and I think that's a good sign, especially in the investment part of it. Yeah. At least from the statistics we have as of 2022, we do know that Uganda and UAE signed deals worth $2 billion just as of 2022. But we also know that UAE is a big destination for many exports, especially in the Gulf Cooperation countries, and Uganda is among. So if you're seeing more and more meetings in regards to investment, I think this is a good light for us. And I think other countries that have, domiciled here, in quotes, have domiciled here and are doing businesses, we should also borrow early from what UAE is doing. I like the fact that they are also championing the climate change, propaganda and message. And I think as we look forward to the COP28, we should really be deliberate at knowing the effects of climate change, and also appreciate the UAE for their efforts in regards to championing investment as one of those countries that have really put themselves out there to be known for investing in Uganda. But of course, to begin with in our show, hearing from Pedersen and what's trending today.
Yes, over the weekend, the State Minister for Industry, David Bahati, promised the right incentives and tax relief that will be given to ensure that Wakiso District JWK International Hospital hosts the biggest dialysis center in the country. Dr. Lukwago, the owner of the hospital, revealed at the opening of the facility that he had been forced to pay tens of millions of shillings in taxes for the hospital equipment, yet the equipment is exempt from VAT import duty under the East African Common Tariff. Therefore, urged government to keep its word. You remember we've been having these equipments entering the country, but they are supposed to be tax-free. Yeah. But according to him, Uganda Revenue Authority has been forcing him to pay taxes on these equipment. So that's what he's been saying, and he's been calling to the minister, of course, to help him. And even some other equipments are still held by URA because they haven't yet paid all these taxes, high taxes. Let's have a look at this very story, then we'll come back to steer and give sense out of it. Thank you. Is being a turnoff to most investors because of the high taxes imposed on medical equipment, regardless of government directives to have them tax-free. Dr. Henry Lukwago, the CEO JWK International Hospital, disclosed that he was compelled to pay tens of millions of shillings in taxes for the medical equipment. He notes that despite the enormous expenditure incurred and time invested on it, clearance has always been delayed by Uganda Revenue Authority at Nakawa due to bureaucracies and other associated technicalities, and requested the State Minister of Trade, David Bahati, to help him sort out these problems.
In addition, URA has continued to levy high taxes on our medical equipment, and I seek your penalty, Minister, on this matter, because the information received earlier was that the government had granted tax exemptions on all medical equipment, but it doesn't look like it. I can assure you, Honorable, that I have paid taxes from the last king to the last biggest equipment, and they are all medical equipments. They have charged me so much money to the point that I almost wanted to give up. I must tell you, Minister, that I'm not doing this to earn money, but because I have a profession and I have a little bit income for my family and myself. Whatever I'm doing to Uganda, I'm doing it for the community.
First one is the issue of taxes. Government does not levy taxes on medical equipment. And while we were there, I talked to Ebo, Kagumire, the Commissioner of Customs, and I'm also going to talk to the Commissioner General of URA to ensure that the equipment that is stuck with them is released immediately, because it's needed here to be utilized. The equipment is not needed in the bond, it is needed here in the hospital to be utilized.
The State Minister for Trade pledged to provide the appropriate tax breaks and incentives to guarantee the Wakiso District JWK International Hospital become the nation's largest dialysis clinic.
LC1 informed you that we take you as an investor. Investments of this nature by investors is truly welcome because they complement the work of government.
The minister specifically noted that the dialysis department is one of the largest in the country, adding that the facility would go a long way in serving people from seeking medical services outside the country. JWK International Hospital is one of several investments in Uganda and in the US in the fields of healthcare, home care services, pharmaceuticals and hospitality, under Lukwago's big organization, Angels Mission Home Care Services, based in the US. See, I was watching that story and I was on ground, and the man was almost crying. He said he almost going to give up because of the issue of taxes. He said investing in Uganda is a full-time job that has no off.
So does incentives like any other?
No, the government passed a law that no more taxing of medical equipment, in quotes, medical equipment.
Really?
But yes, but the man was taxed was taxed to the bone marrow. That's what he's been saying.
But you know, taxes are subject to change. They are bound to change even with time as they evolve. I believe that because it's kind of weird. I actually thought it was an investor when I heard you read the story.
He's an investor, of course. He's an investor.
He's Ugandan, right?
Yes, he's a Ugandan, but he works in the US. He works in the US, then he comes and invests. He makes his money. After making his money, then Mr. Lukwago would come back to his country and invest here.
That's the kind of person that needs to be having incentives.
And that's what the minister has been saying.
Because instead of growing their capital, let's say they're bringing it back.
Bringing it back home.
No, it's so absurd to start charging, putting taxes on essential products when they're coming into the country. Now, the health sector, we all need those. We've seen Ugandans going out of the country to get medical assistance in India, in Kenya. Yet we have people like Lukwago who can bring those equipments, and Ugandans do not have to spend a lot of money traveling to other countries. Yet they can get the services here. It is really saddening and so disheartening that URA is trying what URA is. I don't know if it's true, but of course, if he's crying out, it is true. It is so absurd that URA is is taxing the social products.
And he's not meant to pay them, then that is, of course, that's another topic altogether. But I think in this case, that's when topics in like double tax agreements have to come in play. If he's being taxed from the other country and is being taxed here, then Uganda really needs to harmonize. And Uganda has signed a couple. I don't know where it comes from, but Uganda has signed a couple of double tax agreements to prevent taxing of the other of the same goods from the other country. But then also, you have to understand that there is certain, is it VAT that is put on goods and services? We also need to understand how these goods are coming in the country. Are they registered to be taxed? Because if they are shipped, that is automatic. He's bound to pay that.
They are shipped. Actually, he even said that he has some ambulances that are still stuck at Uganda Revenue Authority, and up to now they haven't released them. And yet people want them. You see, JW International Hospital, it is an international level. It is located in Kachiri. And if you look at the entire place, that's the only standard hospital that is there. And the minister said, we really need to help this man. We shouldn't strain him to the bone marrow. You get? He said he has paid lots and lots of money. His thing that there are a lot of bureaucracies, like he said, at URA. And people want the services. He has employed young boys and men. Those are jobs. They have got jobs. Then why are you straining this man?
Why are you straining services?
So the minister was on ground, was like, actually the minister, there and then called Abel Kagumire. There and then called Abel Kagumire to release.
Yes. Where was she?
David Bahat. Actually, he represented.
This one comes in a sense of investment because he is an investor. So I don't think the other ministers have anything in play because he's speaking on behalf of an investor. And that's why the finance, URA, and other bodies under them. He
was representing the Ministry of Health.
He was representing health because it is health supposed to be there.
Yes. So I think he's going to be supported.
Those are not supposed to be taxed. Really?
So he's going to be supported. The minister was on ground and he promised him that he's going to support him, he's going to make sure that his properties and other things come into the country.
This should teach us a lesson. Why is URA taxing in the first place? To increase the revenue base, right? So that our tax to GDP ratio is improved and we can have a stable economy, right? So the reason, if the taxes are cumbersome, what should that tell us in our minds? Let us increase on our skills so that we can have this equipment manufactured here and we don't have to worry about taxes.
Manufactured here?
Yes, yes. We increase on our capacity and technology to have such equipment.
Such equipment manufactured here. We have not yet even we have not yet even seen the car that was promised to us, the Kiravi. The car was just carried on another car to go for the exhibition. Really, really, for Ugandans to see that Uganda has it.
But at least,
we have people like Those are local investors. They should be protected and they should be encouraged, not discouraged. Why do we encourage only the foreign investors?
Actually, he was encouraged by the minister, and I'm very sure his things are going to work. They're going to work.
I'm sure.
And they are going to work.
Even the president has acknowledged that the bureaucracy in the government is even making these investors, they're frustrating the foreign investors.
Yes.
And he's going to be tough on them. That's why the president comes out and creates entities which are already in place, duplicating the work of the ones that are existing, because the ones which are existing do not work. And for him, he creates his own units. Now, like the anti-corruption, the health, he has so many units that he has created from the office of the president. That actually, it is also part of what we are going to discuss in the.
But may I have a question? I have a question.
Yeah.
If Dr. Lukwago has been told to pay taxes, which taxes he was not supposed to pay, is that money reflected at the Ugandan Revenue Authority?
I don't know.
That's what we should also think. Because those guys in offices, they know that these equipments are not supposed to be taxed.
Exactly.
But they continue taxing. Do they remit that money?
Is that money remitted? That story of GWK, yeah, GW, of course, that story of GW International Hospital has reminded me of a story that I just saw this morning, where the First Lady of Burundi has visited the Children's Hospital in Entebbe, where refugees from Burundi have been, hosted and being treated. And she also made a courtesy visit to the president, and of course, we are really hoping for fruitful, discussion, because
that hospital has been in place for 2 years now. They carry out, actually, Ugandans very
2 years. I feel like 2 years is so. They have been here before even COVID.
Yeah, it is coming to 3 years now. That's the story. The hospital I told you about.
Okay.
They do carry out surgeries for free.
They have the best, equipment, and so if
actually
we are talking about services like that,
when you're going there, you only need a caretaker and your clothes. You don't carry food and whatever.
So food is there. Everything is there.
They take care of the child. Okay. And they take care of you too, the caretaker of the baby, of the kid, or whatever. That hospital is doing some good work here in Uganda.
Enough of the publicity of the hospital, but anyway,
I don't know it.
The first lady of Burundi is in the country, and of course, she has met with the president, and we are hoping that they have fruitful discussions that will emancipate, and emancipate some of the efforts that the two countries have been trying to move together. But we still have more in trending today, and I'll ask Hanifa to take us through this part.
Okay, thank you.
Of course, so...
And we'll be having much more that will be coming from Hanifa.
Yeah, exactly.
You have very many stories to give us today.
Which ones? Okay, so coming from Parliament today, members of Parliament on the Gender Committee have rejected the government's proposal of merging special interest groups in order to reduce government expenditure. According to the lawmakers, the move is unfair because the affected groups have not yet been consulted. Okay, here legislators, members of Parliament who sit on the Gender Committee, government has brought, cabinet has decided that special interest groups should be merged in a way of reducing expenditure. Of course, it is this expenditure is coming down now. I don't know. So the members of Parliament are like the special interest group, because it came from a petition. The youth petitioned the speaker that this is really unfair. They're going to merge all these special interest groups without even consulting us. You don't know the people that it is going to affect. The old people, the disabled people, the youth, because they are also a category. So they are still looking at that petition. So Uganda National Planning Authority appeared before the committee, and the legislators are like, you brought this idea to cabinet without even consulting the people, on ground, the people who are going to be affected. I think we can first have that first part of that story so that we can make more sense from it.
National Planning Authority generated all this discussion on mergers because they proposed to His Excellency and Cabinet. But we are asking them as well. Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development has a planning department. So do we need them? Why didn't they merge themselves as well? We don't need two planning departments. That would be the number one on the list for them to merge themselves back to the ministry, because we have a whole planning unit in the ministry with commissioners and directors and everything, and a whole minister in charge planning.
Councils, the youth secretariat, the older persons and people with disabilities. Our findings are that one, the National Planning Council, the National Planning Authority itself did not engage most of these secretariats, the councils that were to be affected by the rationalization exercise. They also lack data, because when you talk of minimizing government expenditure and you don't come up with concrete figures of how much will be saved, then you are automatically doubted. So our major concern has been that the National Planning Authority itself seems not to be prepared. They don't have clear answers on why we should merge most of these entities. The justification is not backed by research. The justification is not backed by data, and therefore leaves us in a situation where we can't make concrete recommendations to Parliament.
Yeah, you've heard right from the members of Parliament who sit on the Gender Committee. Coming back to you guys, this merging thing, I've heard it some time back. Government wants to merge these entities. I hear some are duplicating the works of the others. Now they are on special interest groups.
If they want to merge the Ministry of Gender together with, which other entities is that? There's a certain ministry that kind of has the same mandate, or body that kind of has the same mandate with what the Ministry of Gender, Labour and the other do. If they really reach a level of merging a ministry, then what are interest groups?
My dear.
But merging is also very important,
to cut down costs.
Yes, merging
the cost. You see, the country is on its knees when it comes to development and stuff, and we don't have the money at the moment. The country,
and there's a lot of leakage.
So
you can see it with your eyes.
How many people will be affected? Remember, there are people who are employed now.
If they merge them, then they will put them to the other. They will not lose jobs.
Are you sure? Are you certain?
When Uganda Telecom ran bankrupt.
What happened?
When it ran bankrupt.
Of course, would run without jobs. That's very important.
If they merge,
they can join the private sector. Are we not in the private sector? Are we not there? As we are here.
Everything to just cut down. Everything to just cut down expenditure, I suppose.
By the way, the law gives them right to sue government if they do that. If your salary is going to be affected, remember, government is employing you. You applied for this job, now you're working there, and then they are telling you are going to merge you.
Provided that the contract, what I like about government is that it's very professional, especially when it comes to hiring. If the contract is saying that if anything happens like a merge or anything, you should be able to be well acquainted and accept to it, then there is no reason we should see to it that it actually happens. Everything to cut down expenditure is paramount, and if I believe so. So if like I said, if they are planning to merge a ministry with a certain body, then what are those interests?
Actually, they should start looking at cutting down the number of the legislators we have in Parliament. We have over 500. The biggest, our parliament is the biggest in
reducing the number
Africa and other countries.
Reducing the number means we remove some other constituencies.
Exactly. Make it one.
But can they run that thing on the floor of Parliament? I think they're the ones who benefit more.
So what is the decision? If the other party is disagreeing and not, what is the decision?
No, they can accept
They
that. Why can't they?
Because
even some legislators have...
whose constituency is going to be rubbish or is going to be rubbish off?
Exactly, the same thing here.
Yes.
You see, that's a double standard.
Yes.
Why is it that MPs are the ones advocating? Okay, of course, some legislators. This committee has rejected this merging thing. Some legislators have come out to advocate for merging of government entities. Remember, those government entities already have workers. These are Ugandans, already have jobs. Why can they also advocate for the
merging of constituencies?
Exactly.
So to have one MP.
No, not merging. Actually, cutting, like removing some constituencies. Some districts we are cut into, is it 2 parts or 4 parts or whatever, and then you have this and this.
Do
and
you know
this.
some villages are constituencies? A village that is supposed to be a small village, it is a constituency. So if they just merge that village that is close to each other, merge it, make it one constituency,
Actually,
then you have one MP.
If government is looking at cutting down expenses, it should start from Parliament. Parliament is huge, and the number of ministers, we have over 80. That is too huge. Those guys get a lot of money. Their salary itself, the allowances themselves. I'm sorry I'm not trying to attack. Of course, we are trying to cut down the expenses of this government and for the country. Now that we have issues of funding from the outside world, we should start from cutting the number of members of parliament, and then come down to the number of ministers we have.
I'm still contemplating how
there are so many. Look at Tanzania, which is so huge. Tanzania is the biggest in East Africa.
What is the chairperson of the committee saying?
Coming back to part 2, the chairperson of the committee has further stressed that the office of the president keeps creating many entities duplicating the work of already existing ones, i.e. the unit on corruption, health, tourism, among others, who are not accountable to anyone, not even Parliament. You remember Parliament is the one that...
Maybe we first have that clear, then we come to Steve.
Yeah. Let's first have the chairperson, then we can come back to the discussion.
Trending today.
Well, of course, that's pretty much it what we had in trending today. And now we're going to take a short break and we're going to come back with company news. Stay with us.
Smart 24, driving business.
Brace yourself for the All-Stars live eviction show. The votes are in and fate hangs in the balance. Don't miss the suspense and excitement.
The stakes are higher, the drama is more intense.
Find out who stays or who goes home every Sunday with thrilling performances,
some noise,
and more. Watch the live eviction show every Sunday night, only on Africa Magic and Aquiba Magic. And join the conversation online.
Sponsored by Money Point, powering dreams. In association with HFM, online trading at its finest.
Pay or shop with MTN Momo and get cash back every week. It's free of charge.
wano nno tuli Bukoto era lero we tugenda okugaba pichipichi yaffe eri omwanguzi waffe wano we tuzze.
I'm so excited and I'm sure even all the people, all the staff at Kwaliwath are all excited. We thank you very, very much.
Myaka 25 nga MTN eweereza naye nga buli week tugaba pichipichi 5.
Very, very excited. I'm excited about MTN giving back to its customers. I'm really grateful. Thank you so much, MTN. The fact that we have won really shows that people like Mama. Their services are really nice. MTN, your services are okay. The network is good. We are satisfied.
Chikola sense in Use the Momo app or dial *165*3#.
Say goodbye to paperwork and travel costs. Now every MTN customer can register to invest in securities anytime and anywhere with Zabu in a few simple steps. Step 1. Dial *292#. Step 2. Select option 1. Register with Zabu. Step 3. Enter your full names. Step 4. Enter your national identification number. Step 5. Enter your national identification card number. In 24 hours, you will receive an SMS confirming your registration. Congratulations, you are now ready to invest.
Smart 24, driving business.
Welcome back from the break. We are still analyzing the story of merging. We have missed the clip from the chairperson of the gender committee, Honorable Flavia Kabahenda, stressing out that the president's office keeps creating units that are not accountable to Parliament, so they don't know their accountability. They don't know the money the kind of money. No one audits their books, and she is saying that if they are looking at merging, even the government should also look at such units which are duplicating the work of already existing units. Remember, all these units have workers, and they are employed. They are paid a salary, which is not a little salary. Of course, you know, you cannot work for government.
Those entities, they do the same job with others.
Exactly.
And then they employ and then pay salaries of these people, and yet they are doing the same thing.
Yes. Now, like the anti-corruption unit for State House, you know, it does the work of the anti-corruption unit for government still.
Of IGG.
Exactly.
How about the office of the IGG?
I think this.
And that's it. We also have the office of the IGG.
There's so many units, they even confuse you. They do the same work, so you don't know where do they
maybe they are monitoring different types of corruption.
And where do they report to? Like
they
the one for State House, I know they
report to the president.
They report to the president.
Natalie reports to whom?
But all units are supposed to be accountable. Like the Auditor General is supposed to audit even those. But if they are not audited by the Auditor General, tell me if we are not spending.
We are messed up.
Taxpayers' money. We are not.
Some things need to be done. But the president has to be tough on some things.
Yeah.
When you're going to take some sometimes you need to apply force, and some things need to work out.
But at least we have seen some efforts in regards to curbing those corrupt officials. I, for one, from where I come from, they have arrested like 4 to 5 officials over embezzlement of funds, of money. I think the other day I saw a headline. Actually, the Prime Minister ordered the arrest of a certain, official over embezzlement. They really tried, especially that PDM money and roads money, the money that's meant to cater for roads in the villages. They really tried.
Yeah.
So we need to know which unit we are accountable for.
The ones that are existing for government are not. And are they not doing their jobs? Should they just? I don't know. Should they just be deleted, and then we just remain with the ones for the president's office, which are in action.
Of course,
doing some action.
I do believe, Anifa, that conversation can't be exhausted enough. That's why we always need or call out to you to just give us your feedback, especially to some of the topics we discuss on here. If you feel like we need to, we need to bring in a topic in any way that would give it the feel or the view that we might not have touched. But that said, we still have more in business today. And now in this aspect, looking at what's in company news and looking at Uganda Airlines to be specific. And of course, when I speak of Uganda Airlines, we're just speaking of what has been famous of late, exploring the Lagos and Mumbai routes. As you all know, as of 19th of this month, the Uganda Airlines initiated its inaugural flight to Lagos, Nigeria, with the primary objective of bolstering connectivity and trade ties between Uganda and West African countries. This development follows the recent introduction of a direct flight from Uganda to Mumbai in India, significantly cutting travel from 24 hours to just 6 hours. And for that of Nigeria, it's going to be 5 hours, from something close to 13 to 14 hours. But of course, this transformation positions Uganda Airlines, the national carrier, as a pivotal investment hub, fostering economic exchanges between the two nations and attracting business leaders. We do have a clip that we would want to play for you before we bring this conversation back to studio to make it more sense.
Ugandan entrepreneurs into India, into Lagos, and vice versa. We want to appeal to the business community here in Uganda and see what opportunities are open to them to sell Ugandan products.
You've heard this word a lot, but we are bridging the gap between West Africa and East Africa. And in under 5 hours, we will be in Lagos. Cutting it down from close to 14 to 15 hours. It will be a great one. Africa is underserved, and this is a conversation that we have every time we meet as airlines in our forums. It's difficult to move from one side of West Africa to west or to central. You have to leave the continent sometimes to be able to come back to the continent. So our mandate as Uganda Airlines is to close that gap. And Lagos.
Well, there you have it, the CEO herself. I like to commend her because she has really tried over this year. I mean, 2 routes in just a space of 2 months. Of course, like she mentioned, it took several meetings, from meetings of foreign affairs to Minister of Transport, and then the Nigerian embassy as well, the delegation there, to have that route there. And let's not even talk about the one they launched 3 to 2 weeks ago of Mumbai and India. So, I mean, we're going places.
It's a good to go. It's a good to go story. Me, I've liked that as a country, as a senior citizen. I call myself a senior citizen. But according to information saying Uganda Airlines will use its 258 seat of the Airbus A330. That's what Uganda has. That's our Airbus. That will be going to Lagos now. So that's it.
3 times in a week.
3 times in a week.
That is.
I want us to make money. The country is going to make money out of this.
And let me tell you the best part about this. All this is happening, especially because we know what Nigeria is famous for. It has the biggest population and it is one of the biggest economies. But remember, it has the expertise when it comes to oil and gas.
Yeah.
So, and remember, we are starting in this field. So, I mean, you can imagine the type of business people are going to be coming in, the expertise. Perhaps we might even throw off the French and the Chinese,
We'll reach there. And by the way, we're also technological. They are saying customers can book their journey using the Uganda Airlines app from the convenience of their
But this
phones.
has always been possible, Pinson.
No, some people have not been knowing this.
Maybe.
Yes. Do you know some people who have been going to, let's say, these Arab countries? They didn't know this. Some young girls who go there to go and work, they have not been knowing.
Yes,
this.
true.
So
true,
you can
true.
apply, you can download that application, put it in your phone, and you start doing things.
But it has been happening with other flights. You just apply here online.
Yes,
but I think that is information that is really not consumed well. But the biggest thing, and I think the appraisal for me, from my part, is that we have been going out of West Africa to access Nigeria, taking us from 13 to 14 hours. But now only close to 4 to 5 hours we'll be able to reach Lagos and, you know, other parts of Nigeria, and even outside Nigeria to Ghana and the rest, because I do know that East Africa would want to connect with West Africa to harmonize the trade. Perhaps now with this, you know, these many more trades, we might see the trade blocks, the newly introduced that Ugandans and other African countries are trying to, you know, incorporate but have failed. That African Continental Free Trade Zone area. Perhaps we should see more
direct flights.
Yes, yes.
We are looking at. I wish we could also start direct flights to Algeria. Algeria, you see, there is a market that Uganda is looking for in Algeria.
It has found it.
Already it is there. But Ugandans are still having problems.
Not even milk alone, even meat, fresh meat, vegetables, even Djibouti. Talk about Djibouti. That place is hot, extremely hot. They're always wanting the vegetables and, you know, all the freshness that comes from down here in East Africa. But because of connectivity and other issues, of course, we have been the trade has been impeded. Perhaps we should be able to see some. Of course, we cannot open flights everywhere in the African continents, but some of these connecting flights are really necessary.
And you guys, one thing I've realized about, I've boarded Uganda Airlines before, and I think our airlines has the most disciplined pilots. Our pilots are disciplined.
Sure.
I was not in the Airbus. Airbus was not here before. I was in the Bombardier. But there's a way they calm you down. Even when you're a first time, like to be on the flight when the first time, it was my first time, and I was so scared of the heights. Of the turbulences, and you know, it was threatening to rain, and the clouds were really the weather was not so good, and these guys calm you down, and they're like, and they are good. By the way, they are good pilots. They are very good.
So
pilots.
the administration of Bamuturachi is okay.
It's okay, apart from what came out during the Kosase saga, during those.
But she's doing pretty well.
Most of those things happened when she was not there yet. I think some of the issues happened when she was not there yet. You know, when they give you an entity, you know, you must inherit even the problems that have been existing for some time, and then you have to clean the house.
So Nigeria is Africa's largest economy.
Yeah,
that we should have also, that we should be online.
Close to, has a population close to 200 to 250 million people.
I'm sure Nigerians are more excited at least because they travel to Uganda a lot more than the Ugandans do.
And let's even talk about the flight that was launched, you know, last week, the Mumbai. I feel like you people are so much excited about. Do you know the number, the Indians that are here in this country? Do you know the airlines have been using before? And now they're going to use our money in the check for the Uganda Airlines money. It's a plus for them, because Indians travel a lot. Most of the investment, even downtown. I was shocked the other day to see an Indian having a boutique downtown.
Maybe what I can see is they should make the fares more affordable and a bit fair, because Uganda Airlines is still expensive.
That's true.
It's expensive compared to other flights. Yes, don't look at me. It is when you try Kenya, Ethiopia.
Give first-hand services.
Yes, our services are good.
Yes.
They give you food on the whatever that international food one.
Something that is legit has to be expensive.
It is still expensive.
Actually,
I'm proposing still to Ugandans. The fares to Ugandans should be really fair.
But you people are looking
Why do you think Ugandans are preferring Fly Dubai okay, Emirates is a bit expensive, so though would then why do they prefer?
I don't agree with you that Uganda Airlines is more expensive than Kenya Airways, especially if it just began. It's not. It doesn't make business sense.
But what determines the expensiveness?
It is when you
the services that are being rendered.
Perhaps Ugandans are not.
If we are giving legit services, then that means because the fares has to be a little bit higher. You get?
Why should it be a bit
because
higher?
We give legit services. You've just appreciated their work right now.
Yes, I do appreciate
they
their
took
work.
you where? They took you.
That,
used you.
That doesn't mean they
airlines.
should be expensive.
Anyway, you let's not miss that. Let's not miss the most important topic, the most important point from these new routes. What does this mean for the business community? Like the member of parliament for Busongola just said, they're the business people, the business community sees the opportunities presented by these new trade routes.
Yeah.
This is not just, and because, we're excited, these are new routes, but what does it mean for you that has been having problems with trading to that side? Are you now going to book your, now that Petson just also just said, it's easy for you to even just book a ticket. Utilize all these routes because they are there. I know there are going to be bureaucracies, they will never leave this country, I think, but let's utilize, because where there is a will, there is a way.
There's a way,
yeah. So, I mean, these are routes that we shouldn't. I'm actually happy that all this is happening.
The business community, those who have the capacity and have the ability and have their money, this is the time. This is the time. I'm very happy that even those, there's a deal, like I've just told you, going to Algeria. There's still a big problem getting there. So if also win a direct
infrastructure,
Algeria, our milk that is rotting in Western Uganda and whatever, at least that will be a relief that you can get that milk sent.
I hope
to
that
Algeria.
this step
Airbus.
Direct to Algeria. That will be another plus.
If our maize is rejected here, let it go to whatever.
Speaking of trade routes and transport, what is the progress with the SGR? Do you know how expensive it is to use cargo, to use air? We are talking about expensive. Now, if you really want to know what is expensive, go in the cargo area. Flying human bodies is not that. Even if, when I say cargo, I even mean when you die from a foreign country and you have to be transported as cargo. It is pretty damn expensive. That's why we need to speed up. That's why we need to speed up the process of the SGR. If you're going to, because infrastructure and transport, they are key. It's like when they decide to remove fuel for a country like Uganda. The whole shops and the downtown would close because fuels the economy. Same thing with transport. Transport are logistics. People need to move, services need to be moved, goods and vice versa. So what is new? Today morning I usually read newspapers, and I saw the East African paper, and the president of Kenya was saying something that he didn't agree with the Chinese sort of in regards to the SGR. That's why they are backing out. And we are having the Chinese are also supposed to was supposed to fund the SGR. And before we even talk about the SGR, what is the progress of the meter gauge, the smaller one?
This is what I know about the SGR. Before I come to
the meter gauge.
Yes, the meter gauge. We have been talking a lot about this, and I have heard the Minister Katumba saying words and words, but we have not seen it starting right now.
Yeah.
We're not seeing any progress. I don't know where the problem is. I think we should.
Can you breastfeed a kid before you give birth to it? How do you expect a mega project worth $1 billion to start even before they complete the meter gauge? Check, put a light, make a light in Uganda Railway Corporation right now. What are the current active projects they have?
They are not there.
So you cannot be expecting that much from the SGR. Do you know how expensive the SGR is? And even the funding also. Kenya, at least Tanzania has made strides. I mean, they are a bigger economy than us. Kenya is trying to, just because it was impeded with the elections but they had really made progress in regards to the SGR. It is just as it had started. But when, of course, they were asked about the precedents and what is proceeding with the SGR, they said, we have just received money for the meter gauge and we're just going to revamp where we stopped. As the meter gauge
come first.
Yeah, of course, the meter gauge has to come first because it is the one that is going to connect to the SGR. Of course, they connect. These are routes that are going to connect to the SGR that will connect to other routes from the East African countries. But I think I don't have kind words for government when it comes to our meter gauge training.
I would like to put a disclaimer that Hanifa is anti-government.
These are my opinions.
And on several occasions she has made it a point always be against government, even when it is not. It is not.
I think Hanifa is against what is bad.
Yes.
But what is good, she has appreciated.
I have never heard Hanifa say anything
She has
good
just
about
appreciated the Uganda Airlines.
Yes, I mean, who wouldn't? Who wouldn't?
Yes, I'm patriotic, by the way. But the bad things are supposed to be talked about. We cannot keep quiet. This thing, during the times of our parents, the meter gauge training was working. These people could travel from here to Kasese, where. But if you see where the lines are now, people have even encroached the railway.
And it could help so much with transportation of cargo. All these problems that we're having at the border points with URA, at the Mutukura border, at the border between Uganda, Katuna, and your place where you come from, that border, everywhere. What we're having all these border posts that are impeding trade.
Exactly.
If we are struggling within the East African region, what are we going to say when we are getting routes to Nigeria, but if our trade ties are not tight, what will that mean?
The pressure we have put on our roads is immense. The accidents we are having in Uganda,
I like that you have made that point. The pressure we have put on our roads are immense. Perhaps that's the reason why the potholes are not leaving. You people are decongested in a city because there are no alternatives. The air transport is expensive. Water transport is the floods. It's not safe anymore to use Lake Victoria.
They promised us here taxis are going to stop coming to Kampala, and then we have special buses which are going to come. You see a few buses, and then more taxis. You see bodabodas going to stop coming to Kampala. Borders are too many. There are accidents.
I remember that time when they were putting a limit and
exactly, and things are talked about. Who is behind dragging us behind? Who's behind dragging Uganda behind when it comes to the transport system? Yes, we have better roads, but our roads are being destroyed because we put a lot of pressure on them. We have these heavy vehicles that come from Kenya, from Tanzania, whatever, carrying whatever heavy stuff.
The conversation about the congestion in Kampala and decongesting it, and the plans that KCCA has had in decongesting it needs to be had another day because it is a broad conversation.
Yeah, it is broad.
We have already seen the effects of that. I mean, with the potholes, and I really do know. I always want to know: do we have proper drainage systems, standard? November is coming, my dear. Do you know what is going to happen? The rains have not stopped.
The rains are here. They have started already. They started even last month. We don't have, of course, we don't have.
And they were just giving us a teaser, like how you have, what do you call it, the first meal you have before the main course.
Yeah, they are teasing us, but I think government should wake up when it comes to the infrastructure, especially putting money in the meter gauge railway, because we need the trains to start.
By the way, there is another news about railway here. I've just seen it. They're saying that Uganda Railway Corporation has received 20 refurbished flatbed wagons, which will be used to revive the Kampala-Dar es Salaam route.
Interesting.
That is good.
Isn't that interesting?
It is interesting. Things come and they are written on paper and we don't see them working. We are growing old. We are getting older and we are not seeing this.
The Works Transport Katumba.
These things coming to
Wamala
us.
said their aim is to increase.
How is that story?
Eh?
How is that story?
It may not be for today, but it's one of the stories that
yes, that's what
whatever
I'm saying.
now. So according to the minister, they're saying the transportation from the current 400,000 to 200,000 tons a year, at least 2 years. Now, this is what is happening now at SGR at the moment. So it's also a good story. It's also good news if we can.
Yes, we have the train going to.
So if you can have these wagons.
To Boyogere, we have that going to Boyogere and then Mukono, but that is not enough. We need the longer routes to from here to Kasese and wherever. We just don't need trains that are not going
that are moving around Kampala.
Around Kampala and only going to Mukono.
That's pretty much it. I think that's a broader conversation. That and more is what you should be anticipating every time you tune in at 6 p.m. either on Monday, Wednesday or Friday for the business show, that is Business Today. But of course, thank you so much for having joined us this evening. I'm Rana Habwe, together with Pedison Mumbele and Samla Hanifa. We will be bringing you more in regards to business on Wednesday and of course on Friday. You just have to tune in. In regards to infrastructure, we will be starting from exact that dot where we stopped. We'll be starting from there. Thank you so much and good evening.
Smart 24, driving business.
Bulu magic is my joy. Ono bulu magic wange. Ayo, naraba kumabala atukuza nonyirira okirako enyange. Taisa bubi fabriki chona chechiri chigwarwa bulu magic is my choice. Ono bulu magic ye wange.